Hey, welcome to the Breakthrough interview series. I am Meg Church. I'm a relationship and self-sabotage coach, and I have created this breakthrough series in order to really dispel the myth of overnight success because it doesn't exist. And so many of us compare ourselves to people that we admire, thinking that they haven't gone through crap, because it sometimes feels like crap, and they haven't gone through the trenches to get to the other side. So today I am super excited to have the Leann on here, who is an MS warrior and coach, and she has the best energy. So Leann, welcome.
Thank you, Meg. I'm thrilled to be here.
Absolutely.
You're amazing.
Well, we met too. Like, I think it's fun to kind of say how we met with different people. And we met through Francie's mastermind. And we've never officially met in real life, but I feel like I connected with you in person.
Totally. And I love that about masterminds and especially this year, right? Like we've all leaned into Zoom meetings and connecting online, and it's been so beautiful. And I'm thrilled with all the people I've met.
Yay. All right. So tell them a little bit about who you are, and then we'll get into your battles, some of the things that you faced in life, which some of them I admire you so much for already.
Well, we don't always get to choose our battles, do we? Some of them just show up on our doorstep. But yes, I'm Leann. I'm a mom of 4. My kids are 12 to 17. They are 5 years difference between the oldest and the youngest. So it is busy and crazy. And I always I take calls in the order they're received, right? You can't help everybody all at the same time. So just get in line. I've been married to my husband for 21 years, and I really am living my dream, getting to be a mom to those 4 cuties. And 2020 has just offered me a new path in a way, and like opened up doors because of no track meets and no volleyball games and no, like, a lot of cancellations, right? And it created space for me to become a certified life coach and just lean into what I already knew I wanted to do. And the reason I knew that was because I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, when I was 29. So I'm 40 today. So that was 11 years ago. And that experience of living with a chronic illness, wow, talk about a teacher, like it just has taught me so much. And I had a relapse in 2017. And that kind of tipped the scale. It felt like I had been through enough hard that my story had value. And my story, of course, had value before 2017. But in my mind, I thought, even though I was dealing with a chronic illness, that I had it maybe too easy because I have health insurance and I have family and I'm positive and right. But 2017 sent me back to the hospital, and it really helped me see that I could use my strengths to inspire and help others.
What did that relapse look like?
So I'm going to give you a quick, this is what MS is. So MS is autoimmune disease. Autoimmune means your immune system is attacking your healthy systems, right? And your immune system is supposed to fight the bad guys, and instead it's fighting you. So when you have MS, your immune system is coming in and it's destroying part of the central nervous system, which that is brain, neck, and spinal cord. And it's destroying nerves. So then you have issues, right? With mobility, vision, numbness, tingling, fatigue, on and on and on, right? Like lots of symptoms. So when I was diagnosed, I had a numb left hand, and it didn't go away, right? Like sometimes you'll have a pinched nerve, and you'll think, I need to do some yoga. I need to go to the chiropractor. Yeah. And so, but it didn't go away. And so luckily my family doctor caught that, saw it as a red flag, a bigger red flag than I saw it as, right? Because we as women, we dismiss because we're busy and we're doing 1,800 things and we're fine, right? But in 2017, I developed double vision.
Wow.
And so that is because your optic nerve is part of your central nervous system. And double vision will scare a person that wants to drive and walk. And so then you're admitted to the hospital, you're put on steroids that reduce the swelling that's causing the double vision. And then you're forced to make a drug change because it means that you had a drug fail, right? Because you had a relapse, the drug that you were on, wasn't effective. So that's the short version of dealing with MS.
Well, okay. So when you were initially diagnosed, what did that look like internally? Like what did you feel? What was the roller coaster of emotions? How did you have to adjust?
Okay, so this is a big deal, Meg. And when you invited me here, I knew that this is really what I wanted to focus on because there are so many people dealing with chronic illness. And there's staggering statistics as to how many people in the US alone have an autoimmune issue. So we know that people are out there battling this. And that's really where my heart is with those people, because I get it, right? So here I am clicking along, 29. My kids are 1 to 6. It's crazy town, super fun. And I'm really in that season of ignoring symptoms.
Yep.
And when I went to the doctor, I had an HMO. And when you have an HMO, you are required to get a referral from your family doctor to go to a chiropractor. Because, of course, I knew best because I was a doctor and I totally knew what should happen, right? Like, we always think, like, WebMD, like, I totally knew. I just needed, like, an adjustment or something. And so me going to my family doctor was specifically for that. Like, I just wanted the referral. So that the insurance would pay for me to go to the chiropractor, get straightened out, and the numbness would go away.
And you'd be good. Like,
I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're totally fine. We're always fine. So luckily, my family doctor is brilliant and I love him. And I totally thank him annually. Like, thank you so much for catching this and for being smarter than me. He's like, pause. I'm not just going to send you to a chiropractor and give you a referral. I really want you to go to a neurologist. Okay, remember the whole, like, 4 kids, 6 and under craziness? Like, I don't have time for an appointment. I'm fine, right? So, but he forced me to go to the neurologist. The neurologist they do a physical exam, listen to your symptoms, decide what to do next. And she says, yeah, I don't feel good. I feel like we need to do an MRI. What? Like another appointment? You know, right? Like,
time for
this? Yeah. So do the MRI. And literally October 23rd of 2009, I went to the appointment. Don offered to go with me. And I was like, oh no. Like, I wake up optimistic. I was born optimistic. I believe I'm genetically optimistic. I mean,
yes,
and optimistic to the point that it's like head in the sand, right? Like when your rose-colored glasses are so rosy that you can't see out of them.
That little like hamster guinea pig. Have you seen that meme? This is so you. It's like something I can't talk to the haters or something. You know what I'm talking about? I don't see the haters because I got my sunglasses on, my love glasses on.
Totally. And right, like, yes, a lot of times it's a good quality to have, but there's times that it does make you like out to lunch to what's going on. And so because I'm so optimistic and I totally did not think anything would come of that MRI, I told Don to go to work. Like, you're fine. I'm fine. They're going to find something dumb and easy to solve, right? Like, I just discounted everything. It didn't even cross my mind, right? I drink all my water. I had my babies on their due dates, right? I work out. Like, I'm, you don't feel like you're at risk of bad health news.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And so then it's really a shock. And so I'm in that office. She tells me that I have MS. She's 90% certain. We're going to continue with a spinal tap where they take spinal fluid because when you have MS, you have a certain protein in your spinal fluid. And that's going to be her last confirmation in her mind that I do, in fact, have MS. Oh, my goodness, Meg. I mean, the heart dropping, like sick to my stomach. All I could picture was a wheelchair. And in that moment, I felt like they were going to wheel me out of that office, right? And it's because, number one, I was a little bit unaware of what it, right? You don't know everything about a disease.
Not something that you don't have.
Right. I mean, we don't have any, unless you went to medical school. And even if you did, you may not have majored in that specific field, right?
Right.
And so I was reeling and I went out to my car and I just sobbed and I sobbed and I could barely pull myself together. Don left work. He came over. The never ending chronic part was really hard. Right. you don't go, there's no remission. There's no, like, we check this box. There's no like celebration, I survived anniversary, right?
Mhm.
This is a life sentence. And this is the part. This is the part you say that people don't see, right? For
Mhm.
2 months, 2 months, every single night I would lay in bed and tears would just come down my
Mhm.
face. Like I was grieving.
Mhm.
I was grieving the future that I had pictured.
Yep.
So, right, I'm a planner. I'm firstborn, type A, right? Like I know exactly what's gonna happen when I'm 40 and when I'm 50 and when I'm 60 and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna check this off. And so now those plans all felt like they were messed up,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
A decade later, I can say they're not, but in that moment where
Mhm.
my reality has changed, I was grieving and it was so hard. And I'm a positive person, right? Like I wake up and I know these are good genes. This is not something that I like. I'm not kidding. I mean, my grandfather was just like me. So that's
Right.
why I know it. I hit the lotto
Mhm.
on putting on your positive pants. Like literally, it's so easy for me. But it was so hard in
Mhm.
2009, like brutal. And so that's why my heart goes out to people that didn't win the gene lotto on
Mhm.
positivity, right?
'Cause now
Like
you have a taste of what that feels like from that day on.
totally, totally. And so I mean, one of my biggest encouragements to people that are newly diagnosed, grieve. Let yourself grieve. Do not have an expectation that you need to just be like, well, I'm learning so much from having a chronic illness. This is amazing. This is making me a better person. You do eventually get there and you see
Mm.
people in that space when
Mm.
you're newly diagnosed, but you have to spend time grieving
Mhm.
and letting yourself be sad. Like it's okay. The rest of us did it.
Do you think so with what I call like the inner bully and having to break up with that? Do you feel like you had to break up with the old version, the old plan that you had, the old anything that you had envisioned and break up with that and quit comparing yourself to that and then kind of pave a new road and a new roadmap and a new plan? Or what did that look like? How did you do that during that 2 month span where you were grieving?
Totally. And when you mention inner bully, like the very first word that comes to my mind is perfectionist.
Yep.
So that is the bully within me. And
Mhm.
so when now you have been given a new version of your reality and you have no control, right? Perfectionists have to be in control because
Mhm.
everything has to be perfect. And so to be able to make sure that everything is perfect, you have to boss everything, right?
Mhm.
And so now you have something that you can't boss. You are tired, you cannot help it, right? You're
Mhm.
so fatigued and a nap doesn't help, or you have to take a nap and you have to be willing to realize that sleep is part of the healing process, it's part of the dealing process,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And so the bully in me was, I mean, that's rough because you have little kids and they nap and like, boom, that's when I get stuff done. Like that's when
Mhm.
my perfectionist self can catch up, right?
Right.
Because I'm getting behind all morning with crazy hooligans, right?
Mhm.
And now at nap time, like I have to acknowledge that it's more important for me to take a nap.
Yep.
Whew, that's hard. That's
Mhm.
hard. For somebody that wants to be productive and never gets her to-do list checked off. And I mean, I always say, like, if your to-do list is all checked off, it wasn't long enough. Like, that's how much I push myself to get more
Yep.
done. And I know that doesn't work for everybody. So,
I just keep picturing what we talked about earlier when Francie in our mastermind called out like, Leann, she's a multitasker. She was listening to this book while she was taking this course at the same time. I don't know how she was doing it, and I feel you on it. So
I always say, like,
go
don't
ahead.
always do what I do. I'm not saying that my crazy multitasking ways are effective. It's just the way my brain works.
So what was your like daily practice as far as getting out of your own way when it came to perfectionism and comparison itis, like I like to call it, or just how, like, what did you do? What were your little things? So I think those are the things that we want to discount and say, oh, those don't matter. No, those do matter. That consistency is everything. So what did you do on a daily basis to kind of get you out of that funk and then be where you are now?
Yeah. So, okay, I quickly realized, which 2 months is pretty quick, right? In the whole span of all the things, right? That a pity party is the least fun party to host and definitely not a party you want to go to. So that me feeling sorry for myself, right? Like, which is what I was doing. I was grieving. I was sad. I was bummed that this was now my reality. Really wasn't serving anybody, and myself included, right? And so that it was okay to let go of that feeling sorry for myself and to move forward. And what happened was, because I felt like mobility could be an issue, right? When now all of a sudden you have a chronic illness that could take away. And let me pause for 2 seconds. When you're first diagnosed, you maybe go to a support group because you're like, I'm a learner, right? Like I feel like education is the most honorable form of procrastination, right? I like to learn instead of doing stuff and accomplishing everything. So I went to a support group, and that group of people is very identified by their disease, right? And most of them were much more advanced stages of the disease. And it was so discouraging. Oh my goodness, right? Because you feel like you're getting this like fast forward view of where you're headed. That's not necessarily true, but in the moment, that's what it felt like. And so all of a sudden, I realized, oh my goodness, I need to do stuff now. Like, we got to hurry. And so I had thought that I always wanted to do a triathlon. And Don had done a few triathlons. And, I had always worked out to lose weight, because when you have 4 kids in 5 years, like, you got to, be on it if you don't want to tacking on 15 pounds a kid or whatever. And so, I'm disciplined. That's not that hard for me. So I signed up for my first triathlon. And fitness really helped me take control of what I could control. Right? Like, and I really leaned into this whole move because you can thought, I'm going to walk on the treadmill. I'm going to go to the pool. I'm going to get on my bike. Right? And as soon as I was diagnosed, this idea that a personal trainer is like frosting and like only for fancy people. Nope. My husband was like, get a personal trainer. That's totally worth it. And so that was really good for me, because she pushed me, and I had a triathlon training plan. And on Monday I said run. And on Tuesday I said bike. And on Wednesday, right? So there was no question. I didn't have to expend energy to figure out what am I going to do to work out. It was telling me. And it was that continually like showing up for myself, being in control, doing what I could. I am not a runner. I am not a biker. I'm not a swimmer, but I am a survivor. And I knew that moving was so important. And so like fitness is so near and dear to my heart, not because I'm ripped and not because I'm fast or awesome, but it just is, it makes me feel better. I'm stronger, like, so that really is the most important piece of the, like, what habits do you use to keep going forward? But the other one was embracing rest. And that is such a hard one. And I always tell people that I figured out my sleep recipe.
What's your sleep recipe?
My sleep recipe, I know exactly what hours I should be sleeping and how many I should be sleeping. So I figured out that when you have little kids, right, and babies, you're sleep deprived, and then they go to kindergarten and they bring back every Levin cold that ever was invented, and when your immune system is busy working against you instead of for you, right, that literally meant I was sick all the time. So, right, you had a lot of factors that were contributing to making sickness happen, and being sick and staying sick. And it wasn't like I wouldn't get better. And even to this day, right, I could get sick, I could get COVID, and I'll probably get better. It'll just take longer, right? Because the army of soldiers that are supposed to fight for you, some of them are distracted when you have an autoimmune disease. So blah, blah, blah. I figured out that I really, really, really needed my rest to fight off all of that. And so I sleep the exact same number of hours at night. I go to bed at the same time. I wake up at the same time. I nap at the same time, pretty much. I mean, and I nap 6 out of 7 days.
What's your sleep schedule?
So I go to sleep at 10. I'm in bed definitely by 9:30. I'm definitely sleeping by 10, and I wake up at 5. So I only need 7 hours, but I definitely need 7 hours, right? Like it's, yeah, it's a non-negotiable.
Mhm.
And I sit down for lunch and I pause really in the middle of the day for at least an hour, and I definitely sleep and close my eyes for at least 20 of those minutes.
That's awesome.
So, but that was trial and error, right? Like,
Mhm.
and it took me a little while to figure that out.
Yeah, when you feel
Um,
like your best and you saw a pattern, just like with anything, you discount, oh, this can't be, but this is like literally saving and making you embrace like the new and be fully present more. Because without that, you were sick longer, like because your body can't rest to fight off everything, and you need
exactly.
more energy to fight off everything.
Exactly. And I wanted to be there in the evenings, right? Like the evenings are so important to me. And
Mhm.
especially, right, like my school age kids and all the activities. So
Mhm.
that was more important to me than getting something done at 1 o'clock, right? Like, so my nap at 1 is that sacrifice is worth it. So,
Mhm.
you know, I may not be filing all of my papers, but I am at track meets in the evening, right? Or whatever it was that you were going to accomplish instead of napping.
So, okay, I was going to bring this up too, and you like did a perfect segue into it. So, with the whole triathlon, I know this, but share with everybody else what you created from your battle and then from something that really helped you. What did you create?
Okay. Thank you, Meg, for bringing this up because this is my fifth child,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
so because fitness was such an important part of my story, and Don and I love events because there's such good energy. Like people, they trained for them, they showed up,
Hmm.
they were amazing. And like if you go to an event, anybody that goes to a 5K, I mean, you see everybody, shape, size, age,
It's
color, everything. Like
inspiring.
it's so inspiring. And I'll never forget when we first started doing events. This is kind of a sidebar. And my folks came and they hadn't done a lot of events, right? And my dad was like, wow, like the people that you see coming across the finish line, literally, old, maybe a lot heavier, or whatever that you would think. That's incredible. So
Hmm.
we love events. We think that they're such a great tool for helping us stay fit, to keep
Hmm.
showing up every day, to give us like kind of a day to push yourself, right? And see how
Hmm.
fast can you go.
Yep.
And it's so motivating to work towards something like that, right?
Hmm.
So because of all of that and because of my heart for helping other patients, now when you become part of a community and a whole slew, millions of patients, right, that need help, I decided to start my own triathlon locally and focus on kids, right? Because here I've got 4 kids and I want to do something that serves them and includes them and is exciting. So I started a kids triathlon 6 years ago,
Hmm.
and 2 years ago, we became our own nonprofit. So
Cool.
it has really grown. We've raised a lot of money. We donate that back to our a local group here that helps MS patients pay like copays and build ramps and buy vehicle. I mean, really incredible hands-on. And then I donate part of it to a larger organization that does research and awareness and education, kind of big picture.
Hmm.
But the triathlon is so special because it's obviously the primary goal is to raise money. It's a fundraising event, but a close second is to inspire kids to love fitness because
Hmm.
I feel like it's my responsibility to help kids embrace fitness, embrace events, realize that this is a life skill that will serve them, right,
Yep.
forever.
That's so awesome. So wait, what happened this year were you still able to do it with COVID? No. Well,
Okay,
when do you normally put it on?
so it's the second Saturday in June. It's in Chillicothe, Illinois. It's amazing. People travel and come to it. It's the most beautiful morning of great energy. It's for kids ages 6 to 15. It's no experience necessary. We have over 70 volunteers, which is incredible. We have like 1 volunteer for every 2 kids. So it's like so safe. They shut the roads down for us. Like the city of Chillicothe is amazing and supportive and blah, blah, blah. I can go on forever. The triathlon is magic. This year in 2019, right? Like, of course, super optimistic in March that we're still going to get to have it. I'm still optimistic in April. And then the park district guy is like, Leann, we're closed. We're not opening the pool. So it's hard to have a triathlon without a pool. Even if you live next door to the Illinois River, I don't recommend that for kids, like throwing them in the river. So we actually had it virtually.
Oh.
And so our shirt and metal company would just drop ship the like swag to
Mm-hmm.
participants. And I called all of our sponsors. And I mean, okay, Meg, this is so cool. Like so many of our sponsors stuck with us.
Aw.
They, yeah, they're just amazing. And a lot of that, I love my sponsors and I love on them. Like
Mm-hmm.
I do the victory lap, I high five them, I deliver donuts. I know that they are the reason for our success.
Right.
And so our sponsor stayed with us. We had a great race shirt. We sent emails to participants. And what was really cool, even though we didn't raise as much money as we had the year before, which is to be expected,
Right.
we had over 100 kids that did it virtually. And I appreciated the parents because all the parents became race directors,
Aw.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they they had to do it at their house if
Right.
they really wanted to do it. I mean, if they just wanted the shirt and the medal, that's fine too, or to support, right? So a lot of people, and get this, we made it a pick your own price event this year because it
Ooh.
was virtual.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it started at $20.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could choose whatever. Like we gave people options because we figured that would be an easy way to raise some money.
Mm-hmm.
And every single person chose to pay more.
Aw, that's awesome.
Isn't
All
that
during COVID. That's so
all during COVID? They all chose to pay more than they had to for an event they were not going to, that they just got a little bit of swag sent to them. Like, I don't know. It's just so heartwarming, part of humanity, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
giving option, people do so much good.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you've done so many awesome things, but who are you becoming now and in the future? I think this is especially a great question to ask as we get ready to embrace a new year, which is going to be so fun. So, who is Leann now? And who's she becoming?
Yeah. So Leann now is a life coach and a speaker and a very hopeful author. I know
Yes.
hope is not a strategy, but that is the 2021 goal, is to
Mm-hmm.
write the book. I have done a little bit of public speaking and I absolutely love it. And I'm part of Toastmasters, which I feel already is helping.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the goal. And my secondary dream is to help more women to embrace life, right? Like even with the crummy junk that we didn't choose that got handed to us, how can we move forward, be in charge of our story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And celebrate all the good,
Yep.
right? You have to let me say my theory.
Do it.
So this will be the book Frosting on the Cake of Life, and this happened a decade ago because I would look down at my left hand, which was numb and tingly, and I'd be super annoyed. Okay, and I'd be like, ugh, this is so annoying. That I have MS, right?
Right.
And then I would like I would catch my watch, would catch my eye, and I'm famous for having like 800 watches, like super cute ones, whatever, and it'd catch my eye, and I'd be like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I bought that watch. Like that is so stinking cute, right? And it would like bring a little joy. And I started calling it my frosting. And
Mm-hmm.
so my theory is that, right, sometimes life is like dry, crummy cake. It is. And it is, you get what you get, right? And there's no change in the cake. But with enough frosting, you can still enjoy the bite. And so, what is the frosting, right? Like, can we identify all the things in our life that really are frosting? The cake,
Mm-hmm.
we can't, there's a lot of things we can't change, right? And that's true. But man, you get a fork full of frosting and it's still really good. It's really tasty. It's so sweet, right?
Well,
And
that's what
so
you created Frosting Fridays.
that's why I do Frosting Fridays, right? And that is my mission, is to help people to see all those little things, right? The cup of coffee, your puppy,
Mm-hmm.
the sunshine, of
Mm-hmm.
course your house, blah, blah, blah. But all the little things
Mm-hmm.
that really are frosting, and they make a difference. And when we notice them, they work for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we don't notice them, then they don't help us. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, sorry.
So, what do you want to give to people, or how do you want them to connect with you? Because, guys, you want her energy. Like, she's amazing.
Oh dear. Um, First of all, thank you. That's so kind.
You're welcome.
So I really spend a lot of time over on Instagram, and my handle over there is Hugs and High Fives. That really is mission oriented because I believe sometimes we need a hug and a lot of times we need a high five.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my goal, is that you would come away feeling that way from my Instagram account. And Instagram and social media has been such a wonderful part of my journey. I have connected with people. I've connected with other patients. I feel less alone, and I feel like other people like me would say the same thing. And so that has been really a magical platform for me to make connections and build relationships, and long before I had anything to sell, right? It was just such a great, we've established that I'm an extrovert, right? So like the social part of social media, I'm there for, right? Like that's the easy part for me. And I love it. And it's a great space for me to practice public speaking too. So anyway, so hugs and high fives. And through my Instagram account, you can get my printable affirmations. Like I have my favorite affirmations that I do every day. Like, we didn't even get into everything, right? There's so many things that over a decade I have learned help make a difference. And so that's what I share over there. You can get my printable affirmations, and you can be on my weekly email. So yeah, just connect and check out my space. I obviously am a life coach. I do one-on-one coaching. And eventually I believe that I will develop a course to teach how to be positive.
Yes, you will.
I believe. What's that?
I say, yes, you will.
Yes, I will. Because I believe that being positive is a skill. And when we believe it's a skill, then we can actually learn it and we can practice and get better. It's just like being a musician, right? I was not born a gifted musician, but I take lessons and I enjoy it and I get better, right? So I was born gifted in the positivity lane, right? And so, but people often, well, I'm not a positive person. I want to take that out of our vernacular, right? Like we're not going to say that anymore. I'm a musician, right? Even though I'm not gifted and it doesn't come super easy to me, I'm a musician and I enjoy playing the piano. And so I believe that people can learn to be positive. So,
well, and I also think something that you said too is it's like been shared and known that it takes 10,000 hours, which equates, when you break it down, to basically 10 years to become an expert at something. And so you were diagnosed in 2009. It's 2020. You've had your 10 years. So she's an expert at being who she is and also helping you get out of your own way, whether or not it's with an autoimmune disease, whether it's with your mental positivity that might need a little reboot or whatever it is, or just trying to find the frosting in every single day. And I think that that's something to lean into too. Like it takes time to become an expert at being you, and you are going to continue to work on the expertise. And I think it's always a blessing to be able to work with people that have done that much work in the trenches, because they're going to show up and give you everything because they want you to succeed. They want you to get out of your own way. They want you to have a different outlook on life, so that then you can impact more people. And it's a way that your legacy can then be transferred on to all your people. So it's a way for you to give your hugs and high fives every person that encounters you and your energy, and of course, like teach them to see the frosting and everything.
I love that. I love that. And really the feather in my cap with my clients is when they tell me my situation didn't change, but my perspective did.
Yes.
So after working with me, I'm like, oh, I love you so much right? And they see that and it clicks for them. And that is the biggest win, because there's so many things in our life situation-wise that we don't get to be the boss of, right? No. But if we're in charge of our perspective and we can understand the power of it, and oh man, that's exciting, because then the crummy doesn't win. And I think that there's just so much hope in that. And hope, it changes everything. I do say it's not a strategy for like goal setting. You can't say I'm going to hope to work out. Not a good plan. But hope when you feel discouraged because of the burdens and the chronic illness and when we feel hopeful that those aren't in charge, it does change everything.
You're going to give people some fierce frosting.
I love that. And, really the goal is that they would embrace it and find it. And, the people that have embraced #Frosting Fridays, oh my goodness, I love them so much, and they're enjoying it and their kids are saying it, right? Like a girl that I met through Instagram, her son came down on Christmas morning, which was Friday. And he was like, oh, Mom, it's a Frosting Fridays Christmas. I love that, and to share that with their kids so that they would see,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the good.
Oh, I love that. One of your love languages has to be words of affirmation. Is yours too?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I'm, I would say I'm married to someone that's not as much of a clapper. Like I'm a clapper. Like I need a lot of clapping, right? Like, yay about everything.
Mhm.
And so it's just funny. And he like works in a technical field and there's not a lot of clapping and they're all very, nerdy and
You're a
it's awesome.
standing ovation kind of gal.
Right? So anyways, it definitely I think it makes a difference. Have you ever been to a race and there wasn't any clapping? No.
Weird.
People clap and you go faster.
Mm-hmm. And essentially, that's one big thing of a coach. Like sometimes all you need is just someone to hold your hand through something that you can't see through yet. Sometimes, like Derek always says this, he's just gonna let, how does he say it? He's just gonna let me borrow his faith for a second. When you kind of get turned off or when something doesn't go the way, he's like, let me just let you borrow this. And I love that because essentially that's what you're doing when you coach someone. You may be giving them some tough love too, but you're letting them borrow some of your faith in them when they can't see it because they're so stuck in that darkness or whatever it is that they're battling. And you kind of plug them back into that frosting.
Totally. And you know what, Meg? A little inside secret. Every single person that I've worked with, they're doing better than they think. And it
Aww.
takes me pointing it out to them for
Mm-hmm.
them to celebrate all the things they're doing well and all the things they're doing right. And that was not even my mission. Like when I went to be a life coach, but it has just happened. And I've
Mm-hmm.
realized that when I'm working with these women one on one, we're having these conversations, I'm like, that's amazing. You're amazing already. Like, wow, we need to start there
Yep.
because, right, when we feel more confident and we have a celebration on the inside, wow, that makes a big difference.
Yes. Well, guys, I'm just going to contest that Leann is exactly this person. She's this person every single meeting we have, every single time we have our virtual get togethers, our mastermind meetings, like all her social media. This is so in alignment with who she is. So if you want someone like her in your life, connect with her on her Instagram handle or reach out to her. She's amazing. I want to keep bringing on more amazing people that are doing epic things in this world, and she's one of them. So thank you, thank you. Do you
Thank you.
want to leave them with anything or any last words?
Oh, I just want to encourage you as we go into the new year that right a goal is where it's at because you don't go to town and do circles, right? You know where you're going. So you need to know where you're going. So
Mhm.
just pause and get clear about where you want to go and you'll get there because nobody wants to do circles.
Nobody wants to do circles unless you're any 500 like driver.
Right? Well, just go right to Kroger. It just makes
Mhm.
sense. Like, know you're headed there. So embrace goals and don't be bah humbug about resolutions.
Yeah.
It just won't serve you.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I hope you were inspired and you'll connect with her. She's amazing, and clearly her heart, she showed it to you. So thank you again. We will talk with you soon. All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Bye.